Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Sikho Sikhao, learning, sharing, and growing together. This is the video number 6 of Angular series, and the video number 6 is Angular architecture. So, in this tutorial, actually, we'll discuss about the basic Angular architecture, file structures, and what is the use of that files and all those things. Okay, so let's start. So, I have segregated the files and folders on the basis of their use and utilities and all those things, right? Why it is getting used and where it is. So you could see here that is Angular architecture. Uh, First thing is core architectures, files and folders. So main.ts file, right? Entry point of the application, bootstrap the root module or the root component. So main.ts file is actually the entry point of your application where actually it bootstrap your applications. Okay. Next is index.html. So this is the main HTML file where Angular inject the app contain the root, that is app root selector, and inside this HTML only all the component will get load. The third point is app.ts. Okay, so app.ts file is the TypeScript file which is present inside the uh, um, app folder. You can say you can place it inside the app folders, or you can not, means if you want you can place, if you don't want then it's not required to place. Okay, so this is the basically the root component class, okay, which controls the main UI structure. The next is app.html. So this is also a template file or the HTML files for the root component. Next is app.css or SCSS, whatever extension that you want you can choose while creating the solution. So this is basically the styles. Okay, so it holds the CSS and classes whatever you have written for that application, how it will be visualize, represent your application in the browser. So that CSS and all those things that you can write. So this is basic structure only. So if you are creating a home component, then for that home component you can create another CSS file, and there you can put the all the CSS to require for that home dot component. Okay, then it is app dot spec dot ts, that is for writing the unit test case. Okay, so you can write the unit test cases for those components, whatever the functions that you have been declared, or whatever function that you have written. So those unit test cases that you can write here. The next one is app.routes.ts file or the app.routing.module.ts file. So it's also depend upon the application architecture, whether uh, you want to create a unique routing files for each module, or you want to create a single route files. It's depends upon your software architecture requirement. So basically it holds the different route for the single page application, like home page. If you're going to, then it will be a your domain slash home. If you're going to the about page, then it will domain slash about, like that. Okay, then this is app.module.ts file. So it is present in older Angular, but now in the current, that is Angular 20, if you're working with standalone standalone application, means standalone component, then and at that time this app.module.ts file is not required. What is standalone component, that we'll be learning in the upcoming video. Okay, next is configuration and build files. So these are the files which will require to run your application. So here in these files we have to write your configuration and all those things. So first thing is angular.json. This is the file where we can write the builds, setting, assets, style, and environment, etc. Okay. The second point is package.json. So list of dependencies, script, and metadata of the Angular project that you can write here. tsconfig.json. So this is basically for the TypeScript configuration for the compilation. Okay. The next one is tsconfig.app.json. tsconfig specifically for the app code. Okay. And the next one is tsconfig.spec.json to the TypeScript config for test files. Other one is browser list RC defines the browser compatibility target. Here you can define the browser compatibility, means in which browser it should run, in which browser it will not run. So that compatibility you can define here. The next one is environment file. Okay, so here you can create the files for environment, like your application is going to deploy it on the dev environment, UAT environment, prod environment, or other any environment is there. So that environment file that you can create, and in that environment file you can give your endpoint and all those things, domain name. Okay, so like for the test environment or the lower environment, you can create an environment.ts file, but when it will go to the prod, then it will be environment.prod.ts file. So all production environment setting would be there here. So when it will get deployed to the prod environment, then the your application should point to this prod.ts file, and it should read the information from this file. Assets and static files. So these are actually your folder for the image, JSON files, font, etc. All these things are there. Like if you want some logos, animes, and all those things that you can store here. And if you want some JSON files, which it might be uh, y- used to read only the files. So that JSON files that you can put here and you can read here also. Okay. In the font also, right? In application, we need some kind of fonts. So which should uh, it will be utilized throughout our application. So the fonts also you can store here. Style.css, global styles for the your entire app. Okay, that I think you all know. These are the optional Angular files based on your app structure. App structures means application structure. So these are the names which you may need or you may not need. For a small application, kind of static application, you may not need these files, but when you are connecting with the backend service like the API consuming, that time you may need this kind of files so that your architecture will be uh, good way. Means suppose you have a service, okay, and in that service you are trying to consume the API from any uh, backend service, so that you can create a service folder, and inside the service folder you can write your code by inside the TypeScript file, I would say. Okay, component name, component that you can also that it is required. At least one component is there, right? Component. This is another thing that is optional Angular files based on the app structure, whatever it is. Continue of the first slide. So where it is a guard, interceptor, models, pipes, and all those things are required. Suppose you want to protect your route from unauthorized access, so that time you can use the guards, like you can create a file like the auth guards, and there you can write your function like can activate, can reload. All these are the predefined functions for the guard that we'll be discussing in the next video. Just uh, I'm just telling what are the things. So by creating those functions, and you can call in the routing, and you can prevent the unauthorized user. Interceptor like the auth interceptors, right, or the HTTP interceptor, I would say. So suppose you are calling the API, and in each API you want to pass some uh, data, like suppose authentication is there. Okay, so in authentication, what you are doing, you are passing the JWT token in each API request. So instead of passing in each API request, you can configure in a particular place. And when you will call the API, so automatically that JWT token will pass to that API. So in that case, we use the interceptor like the HTTP interceptors. The next one is models. Models, it it is a kind of interface that we use, right? So here we declare the variables. Like suppose you have a mm, employee model, so you can declare employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee gender, and all those things that you can declare. So that is called models. Next one is pipe. Okay, so pipe is basically suppose you want to custom your data. Suppose you have a name and you want to show the name in uppercase. So that time you can use the pipes. And a pipe has also different kind of like pure pipe, impure pipe. Okay, you can write your own custom pipe as well as. So all these things will be discussing in the upcoming video. Okay, so let me go to the uh, application. Okay, there we'll see the files and all those things how it looks. Okay, so I have just opened the file, I mean the applications which I'll just explain you, right? So let's go with that. So first you can expand this app folder, and inside the app folder you can see that app.ts, app.html, right? Let's go to the main.ts file. So this is the starting point of your application, and this is the things where it bootstrap your application. Okay, and this is the index.html file which we explained that time. This is the main HTML file where it runs your application, and this is the app root which we discuss, correct? And from here the app root is coming, that actually it's coming from here. So this is the selector name, this is the basic component structure. Okay, so when you are writing your component or creating your component, so this is the basic structure. So that will go in next video. Okay, what is component and how we can use this component and all those things. Okay, and here it is template URL, you can see app.html style, you can see app.css, and the app.html is here simple basic design and all those things. App.css, so you can write your CSS, whatever the CSS it will be required to render those pages. Okay, and this is the file where you can write your test case, that is unit test case. Okay, and I told you right that earlier it was like module. So instead of modules in the Angular 20, that folder has been, I mean that file has been replaced with app.config.ts file. Okay, now we'll go to app.route. Also here you can see product uh, component is there, and for that product component, when I'll be going to the product uh, component, then this is the modules that we have told, right? Particular module we have product module. So in that product module, that these are the files, I mean these are the, this is the path of that module where other component will get load. So this is basically a lazy loading that we'll be discussing in the upcoming videos. So if you will go to here, uh, uh, is that for service model here, you can see product module, that's in product module. product routing module and all those things. So this module I was saying, okay, product component is there, product mode routing is there. Okay, so just I'm not going detail. I'll be going in detail in the upcoming video how this is, what is route and what is how it is the what is this and all those things. I have explained about the GURD, right? So here this is the GURD. It is authentication, whether the user has authenticated or not. So here it will check the JWT token or the token, whatever it has been stored. If I have a token, then I'll consider this as a authenticated. If it is not authenticated, means your token is either undefined or null or whatever it is. So it will return false and it will be redirecting to the login page again. Same way as interceptor we have. Okay, so I have told you, right, in each API request we can pass the bearer token or the token, so that it will go in each HTTP request in header section, and that it will be it will be check in the backend side whether the token and the user is correct or not. So this is that auth interceptor that has been created, and if you go here, I think, let me go to that file also. Where is that file? See, auth interceptor and all those things. So like that you have to inject that one. Okay, so it will automatically in each API call that will get call. I mean that auth interceptor will get call, and the uh, JWT token will automatically pass in each request of the API call in the header section. Model we have discussed, right? So this is basic model, like user ID, name, email, role, created at, updated at. So this is basic structure where you can write your model and you can bind the data there. Okay, pipe. So this is pipe also, custom pipe that you can create. Datago is a custom pipe that it has been created, and it is a pipe transfer direction, so that you can use there. And we have inbuilt pipe also. It is two uppercase, two lowercase, and all those things. Okay, service. So this is the service. Okay. So inside the service that you can call your API, backend API, like here it is been written get data. Okay, get data means this is the HTTP and get method, which suppose this is the API endpoint. Okay, and this is data, get data by ID, create data, and all those things. So when you will be working in a real time application, then you must need a service to consume the API from the backend. API which has been written in the backend. Okay. Then we have environment. Environment you can see here. This is the lower environment, and this is the broad environment URL. Suppose if you're working in a lower environment, then obviously it will be a local host or something like that, uh, stage or whatever it is. Okay. And when you are working with a broad, then obviously your domain would be the broad domain, right? So that I explained. So this is the thing. Okay. Now we'll come to this angular.json. Okay. So here you can see the starting point, that is main.ts file. If you need zone.js, then you can keep it. If you don't need, you can remove it. Then your style.css. Okay. Then environment, broad environment. Okay. All these things are written here. Okay. Then we have a package.json. So here, whatever the package or whatever the version that you are using in your application, that is there. So in case of my application, the Angular is 20. So you can see here 20, right? This is 20. RxJS version is 7.8. Okay. And dev dependencies also it is there, like Angular CLI, correct? To execute your CLI command. So that you can mention here. So suppose you are working on the unit test case writing. So which Jasmine you are using, so that you can mention here. Okay, TypeScript. Which TypeScript you will be working, so that also you can mention. Okay, and we have tsconfig.json file. So this is for the compiling purpose. Okay, so compile and say true or false. Okay, so basically if you write false, then uh, it will execute. Okay, here that is writing for the test. Jasmine we are using, so it is mentioned as Jasmine. Yeah, this is the end of the video. I think you have liked the video, and if you have liked the video, then please press the bell icon and subscribe my channel to get more update on this series, that is Angular series, and we'll be uploading the other series also, like agentic